When it comes to budgeting, most people begin with their income and their expenses, but that is not the best place to begin.
Hi, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
Let's talk about one quick shift, and it can totally change the way that you interact with money.
We're not going to keep you in suspense. If you want to succeed with money, think like a CEO.
Now, don't tune out if you think a CEO life is boring. No, stick with us because we're going to show you 9 different areas of your personal budgeting process and how those processes should be exactly how a CEO handles the money in his or her business.
Number 1, a good CEO keeps the best interest of the company in mind when it comes to planning and spending.
A good CEO does not go rogue. They do not go start spending money because I want to. It's shiny.
I want it.
I like it.
I need it.
I deserve it.
Instead, CEOs prioritize their budget and their goals.
Prioritized list of any kind, of course, means that the most important items go all the way at the top of the list, and those are the things that get taken care of first.
Just like a CEO, you want to plan your own personal budget the same way by prioritizing specific items in each category.
In this way, you will always be making decisions that are in alignment with your personal financial goals.
A good CEO uses their budget as a communication tool, kind of like a GPS in your car. It gives you direction and tells you where to go.
Let's count how many analogies Larry does in this video. That was 1. To put it simply, a budget makes sure that everyone in the family is on the same page.
A budget is also like a map. It tells you what kind of a road you're on, and it maps out a way to get there.
This way of thinking about budgeting fosters 2 super important things: accountability and transparency. Point number 3, for a CEO, a budget always considers the objectives and the goals.
You know, a budget without goals is like a ship without a rudder.
And 3,
here are some goal examples: replacing a car, putting money toward a down payment on a house, maxing out your retirement accounts.
Here's the one thing that you need to understand about goals and budgets. The budget does not drive the goals. The goals drive the budget. Start with your goals, then create the budget.
That's right. Just as sailing ships use rudders, they also trim their sails in order to change the direction that the ship is going.
Yeah. 4. Hey, if you're enjoying this video or simply enjoying Larry's analogies today, make sure that you scroll up and give this video a thumbs up, give it a like for us, and make sure you're subscribed to Under the Median.
A good CEO gives each department separate spending limits and a separate budget. It's just like an e-bike. An e-bike has certain speed limits for each category that you're riding it in. You missed that one, 4.5.
Each category should have along with it a spending limit. You should never ever have a spending category of food. And when asked, how much do you spend on food every month? Your answer is whatever I need to. If your answer in any area of your budget is whatever I need to, that's a sure sign that there might be a problem and you need to think about that area of your budget a little bit more like a CEO. If you add up all of your categories, let's face it, they cannot add up to more than your income. So they all have to stay in balance with one another. Similarly, if you have a whole lot of money allocated toward eating out, but you never seem to have enough for groceries, you might want to turn that around just a little bit and spend a little bit more on groceries, a little bit more time at home, a little bit less time in restaurants. Now, if you're having trouble with what I just talked about, making sure that everything is in balance, and what you really need to do, you know in your heart, is to cut some of your expenses down. I wrote a free ebook called 10 Ways to Radically Reduce Your Expenses. It's free. There'll be a link to it in the description of this video.
A good CEO always determines the ROI on their purchases and investments.
A good CEO never purchases a piece of equipment without having first done enough research to know what piece of equipment they need, what they don't need in that piece of equipment, how to get the best price on that piece of equipment, and how long it's going to take them to pay themselves back in terms of savings that they're going to net for the company from having purchased that piece of equipment. You need to begin to think of everything in your life that you are spending money in terms of what is my ROI.
And of course, ROI is return on investment. Why is this important? Well, it helps you optimize your resources.
And can I say it? It helps you also prioritize what is most important to you.
Number 6, there is a clear strategy for each part of the budget.
CEOs develop specific strategies which are always in alignment with their company's objectives. You need to figure out what your objectives are. Could it be saving a certain percentage of your income? Could it be that you intend to maximize the value of every dollar that comes into your home? Do you see what we're saying? Everything related to your budget, your objectives, your goals should be in alignment with your personal values.
Never put something in your budget without a good reason for adding it. Remember, every part of your budget affects the other parts.
A good CEO has an honest and reliable view of their income, budget, spending habits, and goals.
Be honest with yourself. Make sure that you're accurately tracking your income, your spending, every part of this. Stop kidding yourself and saying, oh, this will all work out tomorrow.
One thing that you discover is if you're waiting on tomorrow to play catch up with the money that you spent today, knowing you really shouldn't have spent it, that tomorrow, my friend, never comes. Number 8, a good CEO plans for contingencies.
Like when crap hits the fan.
5?
They plan for what happens when something goes wrong, and they adapt accordingly. And most importantly, they do it to protect the financial health of their company.
In the same way, you as an individual with your budget need to become far more proactive than reactive. Don't wait for something to go wrong to figure out what you're going to do when something goes wrong. Because you know what? Something will eventually go wrong.
Yes.
It will happen. What will we do if this happens? It is so helpful to think through those scenarios, not to scare yourself, because you know what happens when you think ahead and you plan ahead? It takes all the fear out of the equation. When you have a plan, you don't panic.
A good CEO invests in continuous learning and improvement. They're always finding ways to do better, to learn more, to improve the situation that they're currently in.
Interestingly, I just mentioned on a video a couple of weeks ago that I was reading George Camel's new book. And one of the viewers commented and said, well, I wouldn't think you would need to read George Camel's book. It's like you know it all already.
Oh, no.
We are always reading books and articles and information and podcasts. We are doing things to make sure that we understand exactly not only how to save money like we have for the past 30 years, we want to know what's going on right now with people. What do you need most from us? What are your concerns? And how can we address those in our videos in a way that is contemporary to what is happening right now?
And you need to do this for yourself too. I find personally, the more knowledge that I have on a particular subject, the more I discover that I don't know. So it propels me even further into that to get more information. There's never a time when you're going to exhaust everything there is to know about budgeting.
Larry just said a key word a second ago, knowledge. That is the most important. That's the gold key right there, guys. Knowledge. Knowledge allows you to make more well-informed decisions. Knowledge allows you to pivot when things go wrong. Knowledge allows you to plan for the future. Seek knowledge.
And with that knowledge, it will reduce the fear that you have about the future and your finances.
if you need more examples, a contemporary example, if you will, of this whole idea of CEO budget planning, what does it look like in real time? Larry and I just did a video last week where we talked about the fact that our water bill is proposed to go up 42% in the next 18 months. We walk you through the exact process that we are taking now to think like a CEO and pivot our budget to take into account that incredible rise in our water bill. That video, if you haven't watched it, you might find it helpful. It is right over there. This way of thinking about budgeting fosters two super important things. I can't remember. I can do it.